What is a patriot and why we matter? A patriot loves his or her country, but what is a country? It might be justified to mock those who love land, water and vegetation as akin to loving a building or car. Perhaps some look at it as akin to loving money. Patriots are often scorned and ridiculed, when not being hounded by governments and cancelled from social media. Patriots come off looking like radicals, extremists, and because patriotism appears to be largely a Western disease, those who espouse patriot ideas, patriots are generally tied to white nationalism, racism, and various other forms of bigotry. A patriot puts his or her nation first, at least this is the easiest and most common way of understanding it. But implicit in this is the belief no one has a right to put their nation first. When we consider that it is white people who are patriotic about white nations, it is easy to see why patriotism has been equated to racism. Being for one's country is considered to being against other races. This has made things very difficult for racists. I mean, patriots. For a time, we were in retreat. Patriots could not find an easy response to the accusations of their detractors. The sense patriots had of being an assaulted minority was justified. If we think of the few white nations and the minority in them who were proud patriots, then it is not difficult to imagine that with many of their own nations against them, along with their government as the rest of the world's nations, patriots will have a clear sense of being beleaguered. With everyone opposed to them, no wonder we got a sense that the world wanted not just to replace us, but to make us disappear. But who are these whom the Bible refers to as the principalities and powers who exercise spiritual wickedness in the highest places? These are the nations. But nations are not the home of patriots. This is the error patriots have made, and it has been used against them for a long time. It has enabled the left, the true nationalists, to link us with fascists. But if we think about it, it is the left who wants the nation in the form of governments, to prosecute a social agenda in which markets and individuals are mere pawns. To further clarify the distinction between a patriot and nationalist, we only need to remember patriots are more about free markets, individual initiative and Christianity. Nationalists sometimes appear to be patriots, but they're fit. The individual is seen as a subject and of secondary importance to the state. The individual exists to serve the state. The nation is akin to a community purse in which all contribute according to ability and withdraw from, according to need. The government will often forcibly take from those unwilling to give to those who have not been able to get all that they need. Charity is enforced by the full power of the state, when required. It is reasonable to ask what the state is attempting to achieve. We might even ask what it sees its mission as. When the state decides to bring in 1 million unskilled migrants and gives them priority status, what agenda is it working from? What goal is it hoping to reach? There has to be a reason, one would hope, why a government would think new arrivals trump veterans and pensioners. But perhaps that is where we go wrong, thinking that the state is a rational agent. It might be acting according to an evil agenda. It may not just be wrong or confused or misled. It might be psychotic. The state might just be chronically evil. The evil might be so pervasive that it infects everyone who enters politics, if not immediately then, over time. Why would the state be evil? What could cause it to become so aggressive against the church? The answer is simple, though it might not appear to be an answer. The state has no marketable skills. The state, in fact, is not employable. The state is a pariah, in the real sense of the term. The state came up with the idea of the nation, which is a political concept, based on land. The state became the god of the land. The state is a direct descendant of paganism. Nationalism makes an idol of the nation, and the state is its high priest. Patriots fight, not for the country, but for the spirit of the country. Not for the land, but for the faith we of this place have for one another and our mission. Nationalism is all about geography. The nation can expand by amassing more land and extending its borders. Patriots are not about land. Patriotism is about culture and a people. The church creates a patriotism based on Christ and the culture that is Christianity. Our patriotism is based on the church. A nation is a local church. It is not about the land and water and natural resources. The country for patriots is about the traditions and culture created by a people. Patriotism is not about something that exists, it is about something we all contribute to. The nation, so far as nationalists are concerned, is a land owned by the subjects of a government, which the government regulates. The nation is a legal entity, governed by law. Patriotism has nothing to do with law. It's about being part of a mission. One can talk about the love of land, but the truth is, this is just the visible and incidental vision of the nation. It is what the land represents, not the land itself, that is important. The land changes. It never stays the same. Yet, the love remains because the love is for the ideal, for the ideas that the country represents. If we removed everything from the country and left just the land, the patriotism would not exist, because no one loves an empty stretch of land with no associations. It is what is associated with land that gives it significance. Patriotism is a love of culture, generally, but a commitment to a people, specifically. Patriotism is a love of country, only when that country represents those who are of one's ancestry. Ancestry flows through family, gene pool, and through what we call culture. Sometimes the association is linked to race, in its broadest of conceptions. However, this does not truly answer the question. Patriots love their culture, the associations that come to mind when we think of our nation, but this is too open and indistinct. It could easily merge into nationalism and fascism, there being no clear and distinct line of demarcation. Patriots love an ideal. But it is an ideal tied to something higher than the nation-state. The patriot loves the nation as it aligns itself with a higher ideal. The meta-nation. In other words, the nation is not the visible but what might be considered a platonic ideal. The invisible is more real than the visible. If the visible conflicts with the ideal, the patriot wants and indeed, demands reform. Nationalists are excited about a vision that glorifies the nation, in situ. If the nation is made more powerful or gains more land, then nationalists feel vindicated. One of the problems the left has with the right is that they feel the right is not as interested and as powerful as it could be. They see the nation as a single entity in which individuals are supposed to play an active role. This is the secret behind the link between the left and Islam. Both see the individual as expendable elements in a struggle for more power. The left tends to glorify what exists. They want to make it more powerful. They are willing to do anything to amass more power for the entity they call the state. Patriots appear to similarly glorify the nation as in the MAGA movement, but there is a difference, even in their seemingly jingoist rhetoric. What conservatives do is praise the trajectory the nation is on or the commitment it has to the concept of the ideal nation. When we want to make America great again, it is not about empires or race. It is about values and direction. To understand this better, we perhaps need to understand what a perfect nation would look like. To state it in the simplest sense, the patriot nation is a Christian one. This poses a problem for nationalists because when all is said and done, the nationalist state is an idol in which the government plays the role of God. A patriot is a Christian and a patriot organization is inherently a church. Patriots are instinctively attempting to build a church. But they have a serious problem in most places. Without the right to form a militia, Christians have no rights and the ability to build a church is defeated. If we wish to take this line of reasoning to its logical conclusion, a patriot is a militia member in waiting. To make America great again, or to take any nation back to its Christian roots, is to prioritize the church relative to the state, because obedience to the state can never be reconciled with faith. But if we do not adhere to the legalistic regulatory framework of the state, we need to separate, and this includes forming into a body willing to fight for faith and our rights as a church. There is no feasible way to separate or form a church that is sovereign, without a Christian militia. The key feature of a patriot is his membership in a Christian militia, or at least his active process towards forming one.